So, what if your freight brokerage could run smoother, scale faster, and serve better, all with a leaner team and smarter relationships? So, today's guest has been doing exactly that. Welcome to Legacy Decoded. This is a show about building boldly, thinking long term, and using AI to architect a business and life that actually matters. I'm Kalei, and this is where vision meets execution and short term hacks. Take a backseat to legacy level impact. Today, I'm joined by Trent Tulla. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Of Vanguard Logistics. So Trent's not just a freight broker, right? He's an architect of teams and systems. And we're diving into how, he's been able to reshape the freight industry and his business, what it really takes to build a thriving team, and how you can actually future-proof your business in such a volatile market sometimes, right? So Trent, I appreciate you hopping on, man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for
Just
having
for
me.
the absolutely for the people that have never heard of you, man, can you just kind of introduce yourself, how you got started in the trucking and freight brokerage world?
Yeah, so I'll try to make it quick. But so my dad was a truck driver. Pretty much what so he owned his own trucking business, and he lost his business to bad brokers. As we all know, there's really bad brokers out there. I mean, it's because they're in control of the money. And as a young kid, that's kind of sucks, right? It's like, yeah, your dad lost his business, and he was like everything, the man of the household, lost it, and he would always blame it on the brokers. So that's what got me into the industry, because I didn't want to drive the trucks, and he always told me the brokers make a bunch of money. So I wanted to get into the industry. My main focus was to learn what the brokers were doing to help my dad not lose his business. Finally found out what the larger corporations are doing. Ended up opening up my own brokerage after my NDA, of course. And then, ran it the way it needed to be ran, like actually helping the drivers. But what people don't understand is, like, when you actually help the drivers, your business runs better. Like, you have more longevity, right? Because you take care of the drivers. If you pay them over market or you pay them more, they're going to want to keep coming to you over and over. And then it turns into a residual income. So why are you not doing that? Right? Take care of the shipper, get paid well, so you can pay the drivers good. It's a residual income. If you pay them bad, they're going to do bad work. Your shippers are going to hate you, right? If you pay them bad, you're going to have to keep finding the lowest rate possible. You're just like fighting your own self, and it's like it's not how you run a business. Like, you're
Yeah.
actually losing money. Anyways, I always go down rabbit holes. Uh, I ended up opening up my brokerage, learned everything, ran it the right way, started to have a really strong passion on teaching people. And it mainly was teaching truck drivers how to cut the middleman out, because there's so many bad brokers out there. It was mainly like, hey, truck driver, I know you. We've built a good relationship, and I know you're probably getting screwed by other brokers. I would just see them like, they're like, man, I'm not making any money, man. I might be closing my business. And I found out, hey, what if I said cut the middleman out? What if I get you to work direct with the shippers, so that you don't have to rely on brokers anymore? Because relying on someone to fund your business, and it being a broker from a large corporation, sucks, man. Like, nobody cares about their business. Well, don't let me say, nobody, but these larger corporations are getting so low commission that they have to. And these kids, they hire kids from college that just want to get rich overnight, make $1 million in a month. And it's just sickening, man, because the truck drivers are the backbone of the industry. Without them, we have nothing. I mean, they are the reason why you have that shirt on your back, or the food in your fridge, or the hat on your head, or the phones to you. Like, dude, like, they're everything, honestly. And I have such a passion for teaching them. I've taught so many people, from truck drivers, and now it's starting to grow to just people that want a remote work industry, and an industry that's actually thriving, instead of like stocks or all these, like, dead end companies or industries. Transportation is the most important industry in the world. I mean, like I said, everything has to go on a truck, move from point A to point B. Ended up teaching, people that just want to get into a remote work industry, or people, like, I have people that actually work for large brokerages that come to me and try to learn the right way, because they don't know the right way. All they know is just screw the driver, make as much money as possible. So they don't know how to keep like a residual book of business. So they're all doing it the wrong way. Of course, there's good brokers out there too, but just like good cop, bad cop, right? Same situation. Um, yeah. Anyway, so I started teaching people, but I was teaching them in a way that I wish I was taught. Because whenever I became a freight broker, I took a few training courses. Well, it wasn't like a mentorship like I wanted. I've created something that could actually teach people the way they need to learn. And it's hands on. It's like actually learning from someone like me, being an owner of a brokerage. That's what you would want, right? If you want to learn from, if you want to learn anything, you want to learn from someone that's actually doing it currently, not 5 years ago, not got information from the internet, right? Because most of these people are just copy and pasting information from the internet, tossing a PDF file and saying, "There you go, man. Hopefully, become successful." No real hands-on training, and it's
Yeah.
just like school, right? Just like college. You go to get your business degree and you're learning from a professor that doesn't even own their own brokerage, or sorry, not brokerage, but business. It's like, I want to learn from someone that owns their own business, right? So that was one of my hurdles. So I included that. They all learn from me directly. They have me as a mentor 24/7 for a lifetime, which that was something that I really needed, was someone to answer questions, because this industry is like this. You get a quote from a customer, what do you do? If you don't answer, you lose the customer, right? How do you find a carrier? How do you find a good carrier? How do you avoid double brokering? Like, I'm always there to help them. I help people open up their own brokerages as well, the right way. And then they have that live interaction is really just the main thing. They also have job opportunities. Like, they can come and, work for our brokerage or one of our partnered companies. And not trying to turn this too much into, salesy, pitchy type thing, but I'm just telling you that the reason why I have such a passion for doing this is because I had so many flaws when coming up. It took me 4 to 5 years to learn what I can teach someone within a month, right? And like, I inspire myself because I look back and, and I go, "Man, like, I wish I had that training. I'd be much more successful." And then also the industry would be in a better place. We all know that, like, these truck drivers are getting screwed. The brokers are stealing the money, and a lot of people are, just losing jobs, but it's all because of one thing, and it's the lack of transparency and the lack of teamwork between the truck drivers and the brokers. And then the shippers are just like, whatever, just, do it. I need a broker. I got a ton of freight. It's not like they have a few loads and they can work direct with the driver. They need to use a broker. So this whole transparency thing is it's needed, but then again, it's really just like a fight between the two of brokers and truck drivers, and it doesn't need to be that way, right? Like, I love the drivers that I work with. We have an amazing relationship. So when I'm on the internet and see all these truck drivers like bashing the brokers, it's because they don't have a good broker, or they're unknowledgeable. They don't have the right knowledge to know if they're getting screwed or not. They just assume that they're getting screwed. What if the broker really is not no like, the broker doesn't know how to negotiate with the shipper, so they're not getting good money off of it. Like, what if that's the case? So I break all that down, figure that all of that out, and there's a lot of truck drivers that I just teach, like, not to get screwed in the industry. They don't even become a freight broker through my teaching. They just learn so that they can check their work. Like walking
Mm.
into a dealership, you need to know about the car, right? Or you're gonna get screwed. They're just gonna lowball you. Or they're gonna charge you an arm and a leg and you just don't know. You're just like, all right, well.
Yeah, man. That's super interesting because I come from the driver side of things. I started
Mhm,
off as a driver myself, owner operator. And just got more into the services side. But you do always see a lot of conversations or just a lot of noise online about, brokers suck for the most part, or a lack of terms, right? And you're right. I think there's just a lack of, understanding on how it actually works
mhm.
and what it kind of takes to, evolve into that space. But I'd love to know, what does a typical day look like for you right now?
As far as, like, just me as a broker, or
Just a
like my
regular day for
training?
you. What does a regular day for Trent look like?
So I only take a certain amount of students per month because I do all of the one-on-one trainings. So I work with about, 50 students per month. And we get them graduated, within a month, and then working as a freight broker at that point. But whenever I come to work and I work with my students, we're constantly calling shippers. We're constantly, growing as an actual person, not only as a freight broker, but being the best version of yourself. Because I think that's really important as well. Like, there's times
Absolutely.
when I'm like, listen, go to the gym, man. You might feel better going to the gym, right? Like, why don't you have good energy? It's probably because you're eating unhealthy. Like, I don't only teach freight brokering, I teach you how to be a best version of yourself that you can be. And all of that matters, right? But as far as my freight brokering goes, all of that is automated for me because I have a team that runs everything. So I'm able to focus on teaching people. And so I all of my customers, so I don't need like a million customers. I'm not looking to be a, massive corporation. I'm happy with what I have. I've got, 10 to 20 shippers that I work with consistently on a week to week basis. So it's just constantly, consistent freight. That's what freight brokers need to look for is consistent freight, things that are going to be moving all the time. Building good relationships with drivers so that they want to always take it. So I just make sure I look through all my loads, make sure it's all booked with the carriers that I know. And if there is some, loads that need to be booked, tossed on the load board and find a new carrier, uh, I have a team that takes care of that. So I'm really just overseeing all of it. And eventually that's every broker. Every broker is eventually going to get to the point where they can just oversee their quote unquote business. Because if they're a 1099, which is the best decision that they could make, being a freight broker, then they can build a business off of it. But being in a large corporation, I don't want to say any names, which we can all think of it, but the larger corporations kind of trap you in the rat race, they call it. And you can't really leave. You can't really grow from that. So yeah, I would say my job consists of me helping people become freight brokers, but not only just freight brokers, but really good ones, people that are doing the right things in the industry, treating the drivers good, making sure that they get what they deserve, as well as taking care of the shippers so that they know what they're paying for.
Yeah.
So yeah, and people ask me, isn't this contradicting to your business? No, man, it really isn't. I mean, TQL, one of the largest freight brokerages in North America, I think they put up like nine. I don't know. These numbers could be completely off, but I think they put up like $9 billion last year, and they only handle like 3% of the freight in the United States. Like, this is a massive industry. It really is. I mean, there is so much freight out there. If you're not making money as a freight broker and paying your drivers well, it simply means you're just looking in the wrong areas. There are so many people that are just looking in the wrong areas. You don't need these fancy systems. You just need to look in the right area. It's like me giving someone a shovel and saying, "Go dig for gold," and they go in their backyard and they start digging. It's like the gold's not there, buddy. You're like, "Stop digging there." You need someone to show you where the gold is, right? And but people don't want to invest in their education. They don't want to pay for a good mentor that actually knows what they're talking about. So they get their education from like YouTube, and then they end up paying all these services and go in the hole, and then they blame the market when in reality it's their education or what they're doing or what they're saying to the shippers. Because they could be just saying the wrong things to the shipper, and they say that they don't have freight, but in reality they do. You know.
Wow.
So yeah,
Okay. That's very interesting, man.
yeah.
What major shifts are you kind of seeing in the industry right now?
You mean by shifts?
Well, because
What do you mean?
things are always changing so rapidly in trucking,
Uh,
and freight and itself. Is there like, I guess, some things that are kind of like changing that you're noticing?
To be honest with you, man, the rates go like this, of course. It's like anything. Markets go up, markets go down. But for me, it's never really changed because of the customers that I work with, their rates, if they go down, then also the rates to the truck goes down. So I move with it, you know? So my margins stay where they need to be, and I make sure that the drivers get what they need. And then I also make sure I quote accordingly. So I think if someone's not staying on top of the market or understanding where it's at and then being transparent with their customer, they could really be in a bad position because the shipper is going to think that you're not being transparent with them or unknowledgeable in the industry. Um, I'm very transparent with my customers. For example, I like to let my customers know why I have given them a rate. So if a broker gives, so normally how it works is a shipper will send you a quote. They'll send you a quote, whatever systems you use to get the quote, because you figure out how much the drivers are running it for. What we do is tell the shipper, hey, we can be at X amount of dollars, right? And basically what I do is I'm very transparent on the market. I go by like load to truck ratio, and I want to let them know if there's less trucks, right? Then that means, you know, it might be harder for us to get a truck if the truck is smart enough to look at the load to truck ratio in that area, because then they could take advantage of it. Because if there's only two trucks to choose from, if they knew how to find that, they could take advantage of the broker and take more money, right? But they don't know those things. But let's just say vice versa. If the if there was a crap ton of trucks, now the broker has a lot to choose from, right? That means we would try and get the rate low as possible, right? Or any brokers would do that. Any, large corporation or anything like that would do that. But where I'm getting to is we can tell the customer, "Hey, the market is this. This is the load to truck ratio. We can save you more money this week because there's so many more drivers here. Where do you need to be? I want to save you money." Right? And just doing little things like that will make your customers so proud of you because you tried to save them money instead of just always whacking them over the head with a large rate, right? So those are I don't know if I answered your question right, but that's just a tip on how to, you know, build
Yeah.
longevity with a customer.
No, no, that was great, man. Yeah. And AI is a big thing right now. One of my recent conversations said that, you know, they think that AI will be best used in the brokerage space. How do you
Mhm.
actually feel about that? Is there things that you feel like AI would be able, because I know on one side, I don't think we'll ever be able to kind of take the human element out of business, right? Because relationships are important. But is there any best use cases for AI in transportation and trucking right now? Where do you think it's best to use?
100%. So those like simple jobs, like so being a broker is not simple at all. Having the skills to be a broker is not simple, but covering loads is pretty simple because all you need is data. And quoting a customer, all you need is data. You can have an AI do that all day. Doing check calls and following up with all your drivers and have tracking integrated, like all of that can be AI driven and it'll make you so much more efficient. But at the end of the day, no AI software is going to take over the relationship between a shipper and another human being talking about how we can get their transportation services much better. You have to have that interaction. If you try and get AI to take that over, you're gonna have a really hard time and you're gonna lose so much more business because someone's gonna want to work with, you know, it's just like you calling Microsoft. I want to get on the phone with somebody, right? Let me talk to somebody. I need to talk to somebody. I don't care what it is. I don't care how great the software is. I need to talk to a human being right now, right? Um, so it just depends on where you're at. If you're in the industry and you're only covering loads for someone's book of business, learn more, right? Because your job might be you might be getting your job taken by AI. Simple as that. So learn the brokering side, and you're right, man. The AI is growing, but you have to have more of an important job. It's going to make people much more efficient and make them not really need a human being because it's going to work faster and harder. It's going to be cheaper. So it's just people will lose more jobs today uh, from not waking up and taking action and being a better version of themselves than AI takes taking jobs. Like that's what's wrong. We can just simply blame it on other things when in reality it's we just need to educate ourselves a little bit more, man. Everybody has the
Yeah.
ability to learn this industry and learn to be better and have more of a, important role. So I think that's really one of the most important things, man. You know?
Nice, man. And you've built a team while the industry's kind of been in a flux. So what's worked and what's been kind of most frustrating with that?
Well, to be honest with you, finding a team is probably the hardest thing that any business entrepreneur runs into because it's hard to find people that has the passion that you have, right? Me building a business, me doing all of this, I have a passion for it. And for me, I immediately like whenever I have an interview with a new employee or a new teammate, my interview process is completely different. It's more of a psychological situation. Like I try to figure out who they are. I ask them questions that might, I like to know who they are and how passionate they are about being better and being a better version of themselves. And then, of course, You gotta, love the industry. You gotta want to help the truck drivers because I don't get into this trying to make $1 million. I don't want you to be money driven. Of course, money's great, but money comes along with help. When you help, money comes along with it. Simple as that. But yeah, man, I built a team. It's really hard. It takes time, but sometimes it's just like, man, there's no good people out there, and then out of nowhere, boom, God blesses you with another one, and then you just keep building and keep building and keep building, and you got to take care of your employees. You got to pay them what they want because they're just gonna find someone else that'll treat them a little bit better. I think that's super important. But building a team, yeah, man, it's not easy. It's not for the weak.
Yeah, definitely, man. What's kind of working well for you guys, and what's kind of been the biggest challenge?
I think that as far as a team goes, for Forever Freight Broker, I think us being so transparent and really just like teaching people the psychological aspect of sales is the most important thing. I think you can learn freight brokering, you can learn sales, but do you really know how to genuinely care about someone's operations? Like that is the most important thing. I think it doesn't matter what you're selling. Well, first off, selling vacuum cleaners to people that already have vacuums. We're helping people because they have issues going on in their transportation operations, and we have solutions to that, right? But it's not like we just help them because anybody could really help them. But what are you doing? What are you doing extra that's free on your end, like updating them whenever they need to be updated, making their job easier, offering services like, AI services that can, improve the communication between the two and make your job easier so you can focus on more customers. Yeah, man, I think that teaching someone the psychology behind all of this and what they need and how to get your foot in the door and then prove yourself because you know, nobody's going to give you high paying freight unless you have proven to them that you deserve high paying freight. So getting your foot in the door with these shippers is the hardest part, but I pretty much have the recipe for that. So
Gotcha, gotcha. And what's one leadership lesson that you kind of learned the hard way?
leadership lesson, that's a good question. Like a negative, like what did I learn that like it was like, dang man, that was a big learning lesson.
Yeah,
I would say you can't like find a perfect person because I don't know if you heard my content or anything like that in the past, but I've been through a bad business deal, right? I've had a partner of mine back in the day steal everything from me, but you can't keep that. You can't really figure out who's good and who's not as a person. You just kind of have to trust it. And one thing that I can tell people is that when you go through so much struggle, you think in the moment that it's all like, why me? But in reality, it's God preparing you for the next door that's going to be open, right? You have to know what to do next. You have to. And without failing and running into issues and, I've been through cancer. I've been through my dad losing his business. I've had a business partner steal my whole entire business. And I always thought that like it was the end. But whenever I kept going, I learned so much from it. I look back and I thank those people. I'm like, oh, that was God. That was God that told me, yo, like, you got to watch out for this in the future. Right. So it puts chill bumps on my body because um, everything bad that's ever happened to me in my life, it's always been the best learning lesson. Anything good that's ever happened, it was great, but like I didn't learn from it. It was just a win. So I don't know. As far as a leader, me giving advice to anybody, I think that if you feel like anything is like nothing's working, that's okay. Just learn from your failures. You want to learn from your wins as much as your failures because you want to know what not to do in the future as well, right?
gotcha, man. And I think a lot of people try to, I guess, avoid failures, but and try to secure that W, right? But it kind of doesn't really work that way a lot of times, right? Like you have to go through those failures in order for you to secure that W. But I love your perspective on that, man, because going through different transformations in my life typically came from very negative experiences. So just kind of figuring out how to identify the benefits from those negative experiences, which you typically won't be able to do consciously. So you have to kind of go into the subconscious a little bit to be able to even pull that out, right? So
Yeah, yeah.
that's awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. Everything like bad that happens to a like an agent of mine, like a customer didn't fall through with a load, and I look back and I go, good. I mean, what did you learn from it? Right? What did you learn from it? Okay, well, you weren't on top of it. You just wasted all of this time trying to think, is this rate good or can I find a cheaper truck? It's like that's why. It's because you're trying to be cheap, right? And there's always an answer to why something isn't working. Or yeah,
Makes sense, man. And as far as Vanguard and forever, man, where do you see you like the next 6 to 12 months from now? What are you guys kind of moving towards?
So I have a lot of things that are in the works. I've possible big sponsorships, of course, for Forever Freight Broker because of the mission that I have is helping the industry. Helping the truck drivers make more money and put more money in their pockets. Also help with the transparency, and then obviously making you know freight brokers currently better at what they do for longevity. For them. I don't know, man. I think I'm already like the Grant Cardone of this industry. I think that, and
I love that.
I mean, just to be honest with you, no one's teaching the way that I teach, right? No one's teaching freight brokering. You can't just go online and learn from someone that actually owns their own brokerage directly and have a lifetime mentorship and job opportunities after. Like, just people don't offer that because they don't have it to offer. They go on the internet, they copy and paste information and they toss it to people for a low percentage or a low rate. And then they end up getting screwed, which is one of the biggest things. And, you know, so yeah, yeah, man. I think that you'll see me on stage here soon
Nice.
explaining what I
Nice.
do. Maybe me and you. But I think I have something that's gonna really revolutionize the industry and help the people that actually need to be helped. And then also push away all the bad brokers and make this industry healthy again, man.
No, and it definitely sounds like you're into making a huge impact, man, and building that legacy around really helping people, man. So I love that, and I'm excited for you for
Thank
that,
you,
man.
man.
That's super cool. If you had to start over with just a laptop and $1,000, man, what would you do?
See, when I look back, I'm like, dang, it was so hard building a brokerage because I opened up my brokerage during COVID, which I mean, when markets when bad things happen in the world, I feel like freight starts to go, crazy, right? If I had a laptop, do I have Wi-Fi connection or what? Or do I have to earn that?
Wi-Fi. Yeah, you got Wi-Fi
Okay.
connection. You got one laptop, Wi-Fi, and $1,000.
And a Celsius? All right, all right. Let's what I would do is first go and work for a brokerage as a 1099. Well, first off, I would earn money to then invest in a mentor that actually owns their own brokerage, that'll give me a job opportunity, that'll teach me the right things in this industry, someone with the same vision, and make sure you pick a mentor that teaches your style of learning. So the way that I teach is more hands-on. So you want to learn from someone that fits your style of learning, right? So if you're more of a book reader, Forever Freight Broker isn't for you. We don't just give you a book and that's it. You got to learn you know, from me, right? I'm going to be hands on. We're going to be interacting, making calls with each other. I would find somebody that fits my style of learning. I would invest in that and I would become a freight broker. I would build relationships with these customers, build enough profit to where I then can open up my own brokerage again and do it all over again and teach people, right? Because I love teaching. Obviously, not everybody's built for it, but I love teaching. I don't know, it's just something that I love to do. So,
Yeah, gotcha, man. So as a freight broker, I know a majority of your day is spent, reaching out to potential customers and shippers, right? What do you feel like are there certain characteristics or is there like a certain mindset that you see that works, that you see often with, high performing brokers and agents?
yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I can tell when someone's just going to be a superstar just because I've been doing it for so long. And it's not so much how fast they learn. It's how consistent are they, right? Do they wake up and they stay, consistent with what they say that they're going to do? You always feel like there's people that I always have to remotivate. People people let their feelings get in control of them and make decisions for them. You have to wake up and I don't want to cuss, but screw your feelings. Wake up and perform. Like I have this quote up here on the wall. It's perform God's watching.
Nice.
I always perform every single day. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether it's working out, washing dishes. I perform like God's watching me. I don't want him to see me slack off on anything that I'm doing. I want to put my all in to everything. If you want to do something in life, you just got to wake up and be consistent. You're one day you're going to feel like, man, this isn't working out or this isn't going to work or whatever it is. You're going to feel that, but that's just feelings. You have a goal to meet. You got to wake up and perform, brother. Like, just wake up and be consistent, and you will be successful. You know, people are so worried about like, is this going to be guaranteed? Um, yeah, yeah. If I gave you the keys to the gym and I show you how to get abs, if you go every single day, are you going to get abs?
You got to get
Yes.
some abs.
Okay.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
it should be guaranteed for you then.
Yeah.
This is an industry that's thriving. You just gotta wake up and perform no matter what your feelings are.
I love that, man. Cool, cool. So when you think about reaching out to shippers, and I've seen like quite a few pieces of your content, great content, by the way. I think you do a tremendous job with producing. But when when you reach out to shippers, like what's that mindset or how do you prepare for that? And is there a certain like, just a few tips and tricks that you might be able to kind of give someone right now?
Yeah, so, a lot of brokers, what they do is, they try to get freight, like, immediately. First off, you have to get them the shipper packet, right? There's a lot of brokers that are like, "Man, do you have freight? Do you have freight? Do you have freight?" Well, first off, you haven't even qualified yourself. You gotta get them the shipper packet. So, one thing that people do is, uh, they try to get in touch with the point of contact. When you make a call, the gatekeeper answers. How do you get around them? That's one thing, right? What I like to do is what I like to do is I ask them, "Hey, my name's Trent with Vanguard Logistics. Do you know who's overseeing the transportation operations?" And they're going to give you a name, right? Chris. Give me Chris's email. I'm going to go ahead and shoot him some info, right? Be upfront. Don't give them a chance to say, no, right? You need to get that email. When you can get that email to the point of contact, you send the shipper packet over, right? Shipper packet is what qualifies you as a brokerage. Oh, I can legally move freight, right? I have my NC authority, my surety bond, like everything. I'm an active broker. It's like real estate. I'm not going to go and walk people around, and show them houses if they're not pre qualified for a home. Same with freight brokers. You got to qualify yourself and then build the relationship, right? Then you call them or send them, emails on a day to day basis. And you want to be consistent. You want to reach out to them every single day because, and by the way, I'm sorry if you get annoyed with all my analogies, but it's my
No,
way of
no,
like
it's great.
teaching.
Go for it.
An analogy, the fortune is in the follow up. Some people might think it's a negative thing if a shipper says, hey, we don't want to work with you. That doesn't mean they're not going to want to work with you in the future. It's like a pest control company knocking on your door saying, hey, do you have bugs today? No, I don't have bugs. Okay, close the door. You come back the next day. Hey, you got bugs today? Dude, no. Get away, right? It sounds like a negative interaction because he doesn't have bugs today. Third time, he knocks on the door. Hey, do you have bugs today? Dude, leave. Stop asking me. But the one day that they see a big old spider run across their wall, guess who they're going to call? Not the biggest company in their head, the person that is easy to access. This guy's been reaching out to me. I need him. There's a massive spider in here. Yo, what's going on? Now it's a positive interaction. You have to stay in front of the shippers. You have to make sure that you're right there when they need you, right? That's how you get business. Then you show them why you should have been in their book of business or working for them. Show them why you're a top notch broker, right? And then you up the prices on their end, pay the drivers good, and now you have a business that goes like this. I don't know. That was a lot, but try to, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I mean, I think somebody can kinda take that and do something with it, man. That was nice. So is there like, just going back to when you first started, man, or any time in life that you would kinda go back and just give yourself, like, 1 or 2 really great nuggets? What would those things be?
I would say me going through cancer. I don't know if you've seen my content or anything, but me going through cancer sounds like the scariest thing ever, but I think it was the most beautiful thing ever. And I think if you don't believe in something like I do, obviously God has gotten me through everything that I've ever been through. And I don't want to turn this into a religious conversation. you don't like you need to believe in something. You need to have a reason why you wake up in the morning, right? You need to have some type of purpose. You need to be driven by purpose. Why are you waking up and what are your goals? Right? Because you can't score without a goal. All in all, what got me through cancer, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, was God. I didn't believe in I didn't really believe in God before that, but I had no one else to talk to. So I was like forced to talk to him. And then I talked to him and he got me through because if I would ask my mother or my friends, yo, like what's going on? I had a rare cancer. They didn't know how to answer. All they would say is what I wanted to hear, right? And all the answers were within me and it was God, right? And I know it sounds corny and stuff, but I'm telling you, when you go through something really scary like that, there's only one person you got to look at, and it's, the higher power, whoever you believe in. And it's all within yourself. Like people are like, they think the guy in the clouds. No, it's within yourself. You have the answers to everything. You are God, you know? Sorry to make it religious, but I'm telling you,
No.
man, you got to believe in something. You got to believe in someone's watching. You got to make sure that you have a reason and a purpose to wake up in the morning and just be the best version of yourself. And success follows along with it, man. The law of
Yeah,
attraction.
man. I think everybody eventually has an experience with God, man, when you're going through something really, really tough. It happened to me too, right? Where you're going through a situation and you know for a fact the only thing that was able to kind of get you through this part of your life was, that higher power, right? So that becomes a reality for a lot of people and it really turns you into a believer. And you do a lot of traveling, man. I definitely would love to know like what your experience was with Thailand and where else have you been?
So I've been to Greece, I've been to Thailand, I've been to Vietnam, I've been to Italy, I've been to, I mean, so many different places in Asia, just like small places that you guys probably wouldn't even know. But oh man, traveling is amazing. I think life is all about experience as well. Of course, you got to make sure that, whatever your income is like it's kind of, you know, while you're gone, you got to make money, right? And
Right.
being on the other
Yeah.
side of the world is tough. My experience is amazing, man. Just seeing people in like third world countries and just seeing how they live and how grateful we should be over here. Like you come back and you have like a different mindset and you look through a different lens because nobody's like homeless asking for money over there. They're all working, but they're also happy. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, man, and everybody's just so healthy. And this is what got me on my health journey. Obviously, cancer really pushed me that way, but eating the food over there, I felt so amazing and I was performing better. So coming over here, I always thought Whole Foods are so expensive. This is for rich people. And in reality, I was performing better. I would wake up and feel so much better. I don't know if you do a lot of research on food, but all the white breads, white rice, and all the white foods and the carbs, they all have something in it. It's called folic acid, which makes you feel like crap. It's what they spray the crop with. So just going organic and eating healthy can really make your business. It's almost like investing in your business. That is a cool nugget that I could give you guys is that
Nice.
go to the gym, eat healthy, eat whole foods, and I promise you, you're going to feel so much better and your business is going to be ran so much better because you're going to make 10 more calls than you would have when you weren't feeling good, right? And you're going to have more of a passion for what you do and a good feeling of talking and connecting with people. When you don't feel good, you don't want to talk to people.
Right.
Uh, yeah, I know that's also such a, cliched thing to say is be healthy and you'll, be
No.
successful, but
I
it's
mean, it's all fundamentals, man. It sounds cliche, but really, it's the fundamentals to success, right? To living
mm,
a life by design and stepping into your purpose and being that better version of yourself. I think all of that translate. You actually understand what those fundamentals are. Yeah, wealth. I mean, health is very impactful with high performance.
yeah,
Just in your personal day to day in your business. So you definitely want to be active. We've been having conversations with Project One and going to have fit drivers on. So we want to kind of, help drivers feel that performance themselves, right? When they're spending so much time in the trucks, right? I think that's a barrier sometimes, the mental health that they might be being affected by not being in a healthier position, right? So yeah, all of that plays a part, man. And Yeah, I've definitely done extensive research around, the foods we eat. And I know a lot of the stuff that people eat is definitely a big cause to a lot of things that may be going wrong in their life. So it's just the fundamental principles that you understand, man. Is there anything else that you would just love to kind of share or, how can people get in touch with you?
Foreverfreightbroker.com is my website, but if you type in Forever Freight Broker, you can find me on any platform: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I'm the only one that's, really on the freight broker training side, anyways, that's actually doing it right. We just got an office for Forever Freight Broker here in Ybor City, Tampa, Florida,
Nice.
where we kind of run our team. We do, we kind of run the operations here. Everything's remote. One thing I do want to say before jumping off of here is a piece of advice to truck drivers that are watching this: go and learn the freight brokering side. If you're in a bind where the brokers are stealing your money or you can't seem to make money, remember that it's not the market. Yeah, the market isn't as it was 2008, but it's not the market, it's the brokers taking all the money. Okay? I see a lot of bad things in this industry, and I want to tell you guys that there is a solution to all of it, and it's cut the middleman out. If you can't beat them, then just become them. Okay? Here at Forever Freight Broker, we can do that, but you can also go and learn yourself. It will take a lot longer, but you can still go and learn what the brokers are doing, what systems they're using, how they, send you rates and whatever, right? Just go and learn that side. You will make so much more money and work
Mm,
direct with the shippers if you can, and then have a brokering side so that you can broker out freight. Because if you guys are the truck drivers brokering out freight as well on the side, you're making more income, but you're doing it the right way because you're a truck driver and you know exactly what the truck drivers need. So you're going to be a good broker. All the bad brokers are the people that have not stepped foot in a truck. You know what I mean? That's a piece of advice that
I'd
yeah.
like I'd like to piggyback off that, man. Let's say you have a carrier, he's maybe got one, two, maybe three trucks, and he doesn't really feel like he has the time to put forth into that part of the business, even though that might be the most important part of the business, right?
hmm
What kind of advice would you give him?
So somebody that is a truck driver that doesn't have the time to be a freight broker, right? But they still want to make more money, right? Is that
Correct.
is that the question? Okay,
Yeah.
so what makes Tom Brady the best quarterback? Right? He's the best quarterback because he understands what the wide receivers do. He understands what the running back does. He understands what the linemen do, and he understands every single position. That's what makes him the best quarterback. Being a truck driver, you need to know what the freight brokers are doing so that you can check your work and you don't get screwed by them. The reason why you're getting screwed is because you're walking in, letting them screw you because you don't know how to negotiate with them because you don't know what they're doing. You have to learn what they're doing. Trust me, you don't have to become a freight broker. You don't have to work direct with the shippers. But what you need to do is educate yourself on the freight brokering side, right? Understand what they're doing. Tom Brady understands what the running back does. That's why he's so good at it. He understands what the wide receiver is doing. That's why he's so good at it. You guys need to learn what the brokers are doing, and I promise you, you'll see your income go way, way higher because you now know not you're not going to take that load and you know how to negotiate better, right?
Awesome, man. Well, I think you dropped a lot of gems today, Trent. And if you found value in this conversation, make sure you share it with someone in logistics who needs to hear this. Share it to a driver, share it to someone who's thinking about being a freight broker. I definitely trust Trent's process. Just being able to kind of watch him and what he does and how he advocates for drivers. A lot of brokers don't do that. Not to say that there are not bad brokers, right? There's always going to be good and bad. But, Trent's mission is, very, you can see it. You can see the passion and the things that he's talking about here. So share this with somebody you think should see it. Subscribe to Legacy Decoded for more episodes where vision meets execution. A legacy isn't what you leave, it's what you live. And Trent, man, I really appreciate you stopping in and just having this conversation with us.
Thank you.
I see you guys on the next episode. Over and out.